Dear learner, today we are going to see as one of the example in Cisco Packet Tracer connecting two different LANs using one router, and we are going to configure server as a DHCP server here. So let's come up with a topology. For that we need a server, so I'm going to bring a server here, and then we said two different networks will be connected with the router, so we brought the router, and then here we are going to get a switch, two switch we require, so we brought two switch, and then each network is going to have two devices, so two devices for each network we brought here. And let's use the cable to connect it. So here copper straight through cable, because we are going to connect two different devices. So copper straight through cable, I used it here. You can also use automatic cable as well. So it will choose the cable type automatically based on the connecting device. So we have connected. Let me connect even the switch to the router, and the second network to the router, and server will be connected to one end of the network. Yes, it's connected, and the other end of the network will be connected, communicated through this router. So the basic idea is here, server we are going to initialize with the static IP address, and then we are going to make the other network will fetch the IP address from the server. So we need to configure server as a DHCP server. So here, first, anyway, we are going to initialize the server. So with the static IP address, so click on server and go to desktop, IP configure. And then here, the static IP address of the server, we are going to say 192.168.1.2. And then subnet mask, 255.255.255.0, and default gateway, usually .1 will appear as a default gateway, 192.168.1.1. And do remember, IP address of the server is 192.168.1.2, and default gateway is 192.168.1.1. So we have initialized the server now. So we are done with the server initialization. The next step, we need to configure two networks here. So for that, we are going to server itself, and then click on services, and you have a DHCP service. This is how we are modifying the server as DHCP server. So here, initially the server will be off, so let it be off. This is the default one. The pool address is there as default one, let it be. And then here, pool name we need to give for the first network. So here we are going to say, let me say .1 network, .1 network I'm going to say. You can give any name, .1 network, and the default gateway. This is a pool name. And next one, default gateway we have to give. For this network, anyway, server I have given as 192.168.1.2, which is or this server is connected with this particular network, so we need to retain the same IP address. So 192.168.1.1. So default gateway I have given. Then the next step, DNS server, let's not give here. Next, we need to go with the static IP address, start IP address, which is nothing but from where the IP address can be started. So 192.168.1.1 is going to be a default gateway, and then 192.168.1.2 is going to be a server IP address. So 1 and 2 is fixed. So we need to start the IP address from 3. So I started with the 3, and then subnet mask appears as a class C address, and maximum number of devices you can, I mean, how many IP addresses can be generated with this network. So now for the time being, I give 20 IP addresses I'm expecting here. I mean 20 devices can be connected to it, and then say save. Say save. Okay, you give. So it got saved it here. Okay, then the next step, we need to go with the next network. We have two networks, right? Two networks we have. First network is done. The second network we need to go with. So to go with the second network, let me change the pool name because you can't have the same pool name for both the network. Like this, you can have any number of networks. So I'm going to say .2 network, and then my default gateway, I'm going to change it as 2.1. This is different network. And then start IP address. Here I don't have any server or something, or the .2.2 IP address is not initialized to any devices. So I'm going to start the IP address 192.168.2.2 itself. I'm going to start. Earlier we started with the 1.3. Now we are going to start with the 2.2 since it's not having any server or any other devices. So here also I'm expecting 20 devices I'm expecting. So here please do click on add. If you say save, it will get override. And then this server pool, it might give an error. So let's change this default gateway, a default gateway, and then the network as a starting IP address with a different ID. Okay, so we must do this, otherwise it may lead to error. So here default gateway, let me change. I just selected on the server pool. I just selected on the server pool. So here I don't change the pool name because you can't change its default. So in default gateway, I'm just going to give 11.0.0.3. Any IP address, any default gateway IP address can be given other than this network, whatever we have. And meanwhile this also could be changed. So let me say 4. Okay, so otherwise default gateway will appear 11.0.0.3, but we expect the default gateway in the topology this, right? So these two places changes, you do it and say save, it gets modified. It gets modified. You can see here default gateway is different, and this we don't have here. We don't have this network. We don't have here. And what we have is the last two we have here. The last two networks we have. It looks all right. It looks all right now. So just you may close the. You may have to on this. Okay, server is not on. So just on the server. Just on the server and close it. And on the server and close it. And then now the server is turned on. Now the server is turned on. So the next step, we need to configure the router to fetch the DHCP IP address from the server for both the networks. So click on server, and we are going to write the CLI command. Just click on CLI command, and then continue with the configuration dialog. Say no, because we are going to code it, and press return to get started. Say enter. Okay, now enable, say enable or en, and it got enabled in the configuration mode. And then the next step, you need to say configure the terminal, config, config terminal, and press enter. We are into the configuration terminal. So here we need to configure both the networks. So my first network is connected via FA0/0. So I had put 0/0 and press enter. We are into the interface of this network, the first network. Okay, here the next one, we need to say IP address we need to say for this network. So IP address space, we need to put the server default gateway IP address here. Okay, 192.168.1.1. This is default gateway IP address, and followed that subnet mask 255.255.255.0, and press enter. Next, we have a command called IP helper address class. IP helper address class. Just type IP help and then press a tab. Okay, it's not happening. Yeah, now it's happening. IP helper address space. You have to give the server IP address. So 192.168.1.2, which says get the IP address, dynamic IP address from the server for the given network. So we have done this, and then the next step we need to say no shutdown. No shutdown. Now the port is up. Now the port is up. You can see here, now it turned to green, right? The same way we need to configure the another network, which is interface. You can continue here. Okay, first we need to come out of this interface. So let me say exit, come out of this interface. If config, if is there, right? So it retains this previous interface itself. So say exit. So now you have come out of the interface. Now we are going to configure the another interface, I mean another network interface FA 0/1. So we are into the next network interface FA 0/1, and here we are going to say IP address from where we are going to start. That's IP address, and the default gateway IP address, that is 192.168.2.1, and then the subnet mask 255.255.255.0, and press enter. And here for this network as well, we are going to fetch the IP address from the server. So we know that the command IP helper command will help us to fetch the IP addresses for this network devices from the server. So to give the server IP address 192.168.1.2. So server IP address I have given, then say no shutdown, no shutdown. So now it got turned to green in color. Then the next step, whatever configuration modification we have given, everything should be saved. So say do write memory, do write memory, MEMORY, do write memory, and just save it. So we are done with, so say exit. Okay, let's check with the DHCP address. So here I'm going to say click on the device and go to desktop, go to desktop, and then IP configure, click on DHCP, requesting IP address. Yes, IP address is successful. The default gateway for this network we have given 192.168.1.1 we gave, and 1.2 we gave for server, and we said that start the IP address 192.168.1.3. So it started there. So let's click on the next device, go to desktop, IP configure, click on DHCP. So here 1.4 is appearing, it's all right. And the next network, when we go, click on the device and then desktop, IP configure, click on DHCP server, it's requesting, yes, the network default IP address was 192.168.2.1 we gave. So the next IP address we asked to start with the 2.2, it started with the 2.2. So next one we are going to see desktop IP configure DHCP. Yes, 2.3, all the IP addresses are rightly configured with the different devices of different networks with the help of server. So that's how we made DHCP server configuration. So now let's pass the data. I'll take the data unit from PC4 to PC6. Okay, first time it fails always. So let's try PC4 to PC6. Yes, it is successful now. So now PC5 to PC7. It is failed. Let's try again. PC5 to PC7. It is successful. So before you start exploring this, do check whether the packet goes within the network rightly. Do check the packet goes within the network rightly, then you may try with the next network. Okay, so it is successful, all the packets are successful. Let me try from PC7 to PC4, PC7 to PC4. Yes, it is successful. PC7 to PC4 is successful. PC7 to PC4 is successful. Thank you.